All right, everybody, welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about how I go ahead and plan out a vacation and stuff like that. And that's coming up right after this. Traveling with Justin. I am Justin, and currently I am in my kitchen right now. I am making some cookies. So how I make cookies is, well, my wife tells me what she wants. Justin, make these cookies. And then I go ahead and follow a recipe. Or I sometimes just improvise, okay? So that's what we're gonna be talking about today is how do I research out a trip? And I'm just going to make some cookies really quick. So while the cookies are cooking, I'll come into my computer. I'm in my office right now. And I'm going to break down a short version of what I do and how I do it to book trips and stuff like that. And this particular trip that I'm going to show you was one that I had to cancel. I'll explain that to you here when we're looking at the computer screen. Let's jump over to the computer screen. All right. So the cruise that is in front of you right now, the 11-day inaugural Western Mediterranean cruise. We're going to be talking about that cruise right now, okay? Just to be transparent, I had to cancel this one right here because I got laid off and I needed the money back, basically, for the cruise. And I'll explain to you here in a minute, but that is what we're talking about today. So usually this is the short version of how I break down my planning and strategy and things like that when planning a cruise. So my wife and I, we were sitting down. We wanted to go to the Mediterranean. We wanted to go to Athens, Greece. And the original sailing that we were on for the Star Princess was August the 23rd of 2025. Now, that's come and gone, but that inaugural cruise was canceled because the ship was not going to be ready. They made that mistake with the Sun, where they put it out too early and it wasn't all completed yet. So they decided to cancel cruises for August and September, and then have the inaugural cruise here on October 4th of 2025 on the Star Princess. And so what we did is we had canceled it and we moved it to November for the Caribbean, but we're like, let's just go back and see if we can do the inaugural. So we went back, we found some cabins for the inaugural cruise. Okay, so yeah, this is an 11-day inaugural Western Med cruise. Okay, so it starts in Barcelona. So let's see if we can scroll down a little bit, okay? Let's take a look here. Barcelona, Spain. Okay, that's perfectly fine. We're going to France. We have a sea day. We have Rome. Okay, we'll talk about that here in a minute. We got Naples. We got Sicily. Then we're at sea. Cartagena, Spain. And then we're at sea. Then we're at Gibraltar. Probably said that wrong. At sea, then we're back in Barcelona, Spain on October the 15th. It's a Wednesday. Okay, so that's what we were going to plan. Because the original we had planned on going into Turkey and to Greece and some of these ports like Sicily, Naples, and things like that. We were going to leave out of Rome. That's what we wanted to do. But we had to modify it, and we decided to sell out of Barcelona and go to some of the ports that we wanted to. We just wanted to experience the new Star Princess. So that was already done, Star Princess, October 4th. That's what we decided on, okay? And so we went ahead and we booked the trip. Now, I'll say it's sold out. Yeah, they're all sold out. But like I said, I had to cancel our reservations. Okay, so right here, we're going to jump over. This is the Star Princess right here. It talks a little bit about the Star Princess. And then let's go ahead and let's look at the decks. All right, so this is deck 15. And we're looking for 15347. I'm going to scroll down. Boom, right there. Okay. So it's a deluxe balcony. All right. We have this cabin, we had this cabin, and then we had an inside cabin as well. All right, I had 3 balconies booked on the August 23rd selling, but my wife was like, we don't need to get a balcony for our 2 kids, and they can have the inside cabin. I was thinking, it's their first time in the Med, why not have a balcony cabin where we can look at the ocean and look at the beautiful scenery over there. But my wife was like, no, they can just come over to ours. So they got the inside cabin. This is our cabin, and then this is my parent-in-law's cabin, her parents. We were taking her parents with us. And so, those were where our rooms were going to be on the ship. Okay? So, deck 15. It's going to be awesome towards the back. And we were all excited to go. And so what I normally do is, let's jump back over here to the itinerary. Okay, we're like, so Barcelona. Okay, where are we going to stay at in Barcelona? Okay, I usually find a hotel close by the port, that's convenient and things like that. But first of all, we have to get to Barcelona. So let's jump over here to Google Flights. So Salt Lake to Barcelona, we're just going to do Thursday, October 2nd, and then come home October the 16th. We're just going to take a look at those. So I usually come out here to Google Flights and take a look. Now, we got a lot of options here. We've got Delta Air France, we got Delta KLM, we got United. We got some other things right here. So now my wife wants to have a nonstop flight, but there's not a nonstop flight. So nonstop are out. Okay? So one stop or fewer. And we're going to change that up. Okay. So now let's go ahead and let's take a look at the times. Right now, we are going to go on Delta, because Delta has a hub here in Salt Lake City, Utah, and that's what we're going with. Okay? So now we got to figure out, where do we want to go ahead and stop? Okay? And so I've ruled out the American, of course, and I've ruled out the United, because we're flying Delta. And we're looking at these top 2 right here. Okay? Because they've got one in Paris and one in Amsterdam. Okay? So let's just go ahead and let's just pick this one right here, because it's just the top one right there. Okay? And then the return flight. Okay? We can't, since we're doing the 16th, it's the day after we get back on the cruise, we can pick any one of these right here. We can pick any one of these options right here, because 11:35 a.m., 6:20, 6:10. All right, and so that's what we're looking at right here. Okay, so if we were to go to the 15th, and that'd be a little bit different, because we would have to do this 1:20 right there, because there's no way we can get to the airport at these times right here. This one might be doable, this one might be doable, but this one right here is the most safest for me. Okay? So if we were to do this one the day of, let's just go ahead and click on that. And so we got Thursday, October 2nd at 3:30 to 2:50 p.m. the next day. That one right there means the next day. It's a 15-hour flight, one stop in, I do believe that's Paris. Yep. And it's a 3-hour layover. Okay. And then we're going to go here to KLM. Let's look at the details right here. So Salt Lake City International Airport. It's an overnight flight, and we're land in Paris. All right. So that was an 8330, 900 MEO. And then in Paris, we go from 1:05 in the afternoon to 2:50. We're landing in Barcelona. That is on an Air France Embracer 190. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Okay, so let's go ahead and Say, okay, that is awesome. Now let's take a look at the 15th. So 1:20, we leave Barcelona, and we fly to Amsterdam on a Boeing 737 with KLM. And then we leave Amsterdam at 5 p.m. and get to Salt Lake City at 7 p.m. on a Boeing 777, and that's flown by KLM. All right. So I would prefer to have them all Delta, but KLM's fine. But they're partners. All right. So let's go ahead and let's jump out here. Let's go with okay, see, look at the prices right here. 9,048. Let's go back. I always forget to change that 6. Okay. So, Delta Main Classic is 5,686. And the Delta Main, okay, that's 7,000. So let's just go with this right here. We're just going to continue with that one. Continue. All right, so we got 6 passengers, and the total is 7,167 USD. Okay, so let's just take a look at a couple things here. I like to play around with this. We're going to go ahead and select the seats. And I wonder if it will show us some options here. We can't do Delta 1 because it's not available, and there's only 2, 4, 5 Delta 1s. Premium, there's not enough. Comfort Plus, there might be, but I'm not sure if they'll give us an option for that. Okay, so let's do next passenger. I'm just going to pick some seats. Oh. And I'm just going to spend the extra $100 on the aisle seats. Okay. Oh. Got ahead of myself there. So we're just gonna, of course. All right, so we ran into a little problem there, but I'll just tell you right now. Okay, if I were to choose Delta 1 like my wife wanted, it would have cost us $66,000. Comfort Plus was about $23,000, and Delta Main Classic was $7,168. So what do you think we went with? Yeah. That's for 6 passengers. Okay? So yeah, that is how I pick the flights and things like that. And then I look at the hotels, but we're just going to jump over and we're going to look at the cruise right here. And we're just going to focus on one particular port. Okay? Let's take a look right here for Rome, Italy. Okay, that's going to be on Tuesday, October 7th, 7 to 8 p.m. So we are going to see if we can look at some excursions. I'm going to see if they will give us that option here. There we go. Let's look at excursions and Rome. Sometimes Prince's website has issues, so we'll just tell you that right there. So that they have several excursions right here, but my in-laws are a little bit older, and my mother-in-law, she fell and she broke her foot again, and she hurt her back, and so, and my father-in-law's not that, man, walking's not, it's easy, but he's really super slow. So we were going to look at excursions. And we had some particular places we wanted to go. We wanted to go to the Vatican. We wanted to go to the Colosseum. And we wanted to go to the LDS Temple, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Temple. And we didn't know if we could do that all with a hop on, hop off, or by ourselves. So, that one looked pretty good. That was 9 hours. But we were looking at, let's see if I can, right here, okay? So this van, private vehicle, okay? So let's go ahead and let's view the details on that. All right, so it's, you get 9 hours. It's a 9-hour tour. It's an easy activity. Explore at your own pace in a private minivan vehicle, driver, and English-speaking guide at your service. I don't know if it'll give us much information because we're not in an actual booking. Okay, but that was $2,500, and we were going to do that one because that would be easy for my in-laws to go ahead and do. And if we had time, we could go to the fountains and we could explore other parts of Rome. But you've got to remember that the cruise port is at about 45 minutes to an hour away from Rome. So that's 2 hours out of your 9 hours that you have to spend going back and forth to the ship. So that's what we were going to do here in Rome. So we had it all down, we had it all booked and everything like that. And it was going to be an awesome tour. Something that we've never done before. I've never been to Rome or anything like that. So, and then, we also looked at Naples and things to do. We were just going to basically just get off the port and walk around some of these ports right here. Marseille, Naples, Sicily. We were just going to walk around the ports and things like that because we were spending a lot of money on this trip. And we hadn't really got into the planning of some of these, like Cartagena. We were thinking of maybe doing another excursion there. So let's take a look at Cartagena. So I go through and I look at what would be the best, Do we want to do a major tour? Because this is like a standard, this is a very, very hard activity. And my in-laws couldn't do that. Easy activity. There you go. We could do that. But it's not about, just about the experience for us right now. My father-in-law's been all over the world because he was in the military, but my mother-in-law hasn't. And so we were just trying to think, let's go to these different places where we can see different parts of the world. And so that's kind of how I go ahead and plan. Okay, because there's several steps that you need to take and plan out. Okay, so yeah, we talked about booking the airline tickets. And along with the airline, you have to book parking at the airport. I don't usually do long-term parking at the airport. I usually do it off airport, just because there's been a lot of thefts out there and it's more secure. And then I make sure that I have all my information available at me. I have all the cruise information. I have all my airline tickets and stuff like that. I have that all organized. All right, so yeah, I like to try to be organized, make sure that everything runs smooth. Now that was just a quick version of how I kind of plan things out. So now let me go through the steps, which I try to follow. Okay, so the first step is we have to find a date we can go on. Okay, if we're looking for Thanksgiving 2025, we will look, okay, we're going on Thanksgiving 2025. Where do we want to go? Do you want to go to the Caribbean? Or do we want to go to Europe? Or anything like that? Most of the time, Europe, no, because those cruises are closed because it's wintertime over there. But, so we're going to the Caribbean. All right. And so what ship do we want to go on? Do we want to go on a Carnival ship, a Princess ship, a Royal Caribbean, NCL, a Virgin Atlantic? along those lines. What brand do we want to go on? Okay, so we are going to go on Princess ship. Do we do the Regal? Do we do the, whatever's selling to the Caribbean? We break that down and then we plan that. And then we're like, okay, let's book that. Okay, we got the date. Let's go ahead and book the airline tickets and the airport parking, and either do an Uber or a private shuttle. Or sometimes, there's always the shuttle bus from Princess we could do to get to the airport there in Fort Lauderdale. But we also have to, get a hotel there in Fort Lauderdale just to make sure that we're there a day early. I would never fly in the day of because a lot of things can happen. So come in a day early. And then, we get to the ship and then we're like, okay, we're in St. Martin. Let's go ahead and do this. St. Thomas, let's go ahead and do this. We're going to the Princess Cay. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, you just have to plan it out, however you do it. Just like me baking cookies, okay? I had all these dry ingredients out, and they turned out like this, okay? Now, it has Reese's Pieces in it. It's got chocolate chip in it. It's got peanut butter in it. I only had creamy. And they say the recipe calls for chunky, but creamy works just fine. And then I have those mini Reese's peanut butter cups that I chopped up. And yeah, so let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at it. Let's open that up. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so it all works out. Let me. That's pretty good. Okay, so yeah, just like the cookies, they all came together because you did the planning. And so that is a good spot. So those are just the ways that I kind of plan out my trip. And I might do a series on like the exact steps I take. If I'm going on a cruise, this is what I do, this is what I do, and this is how I book it. And then, go through how do I book the airlines? How do I do that? But you kind of saw the kind of thing I do to make sure that the trip goes smoothly. Okay, nothing is guaranteed. Nothing is guaranteed. All right, some people out there plan, we're going to go to the airport, we're going to leave at this time, we're going to get to the airport at this time, we're going to go through security, it's going to take us 15 minutes to get through security. Not likely. It's going to take us 5 minutes to walk to the gate. We are going to sit there for 10 minutes, we're going to get on the plane. Once we get off, we're going to do this, this, and this, and this. That doesn't work. You can't plan down to the minute. Okay, you're like, okay, I am going to Rome, and I'm going to get a private car because I want to go see these sites. It might take me 9 hours to do it, but I'm going to do it. All right? So yeah, you just have to sit and plan. But I don't know how people can research and go places like a cruise in 30 minutes. I mean, I can book a cruise in less than 30 minutes. It's not a problem at all. But that's just, that's just me. I know I've rambled on forever. All right, so yeah, I know that I've rambled along for a long time. Sometimes I just ramble. I know, it's really bad. Even if I script my videos, I still ramble. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's kind of a breakdown of how I approach a trip and how I look at things, how I research things out, and go along those ways. So if you did, give the thumbs up. I would really, really appreciate it. And also, if you want to hit the subscribe button, I'll have other things coming along here on Traveling with Justin. So next week, I will be talking about the new drink package aboard Carnival Cruise Lines. Carnival ships. And that should be an interesting one. Okay? That'll be next week. And so, yeah, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell notification so you be notified whenever I upload that video. All right, guys. Hopefully this was a okay video. I ramble out quite a bit. All right, until the next one, I will see you later. Bye. Yeah, cookie's pretty good. I might bake these again for my cooking channel. Bye.